All right, so when you came onto this conference with Kylie, she sent out a survey form and a number of you filled that out. And when I looked at the answers from those surveys when it came to social media, here were the common themes of what you were needing help with. First of all, where to start? Because there is so much to social media, isn't there? That we can just get a little overwhelmed with, oh my God, where do I start? I recently have just come back from Arizona, and my husband and I did a photography trip up around Monument Valley and Antelope Canyon. And he said something very similar to me as a photographer. There were so many amazing vistas to look at, so many amazing landscapes, that he was overwhelmed with where does he start photographing that? And sometimes we can feel the same. We've got, our audience spread out over a multitude in sometimes hundreds of places. Where do we start? So I'm going to focus on some of the top areas, and we're going to actually look at some of the things that are happening with the social media of the people in this room. Now, I'm not going to embarrass anyone. I promise not to give any names out, but I'm just going to sort of analyse it. And you can go and check if it's you later on. How's that? Or you might know when you see the numbers. So one of the ones was who to involve. You're often working in departments with a lot of people that you have to cross-reference with. So who are those people that you involve in this process? And that's something really that you need to start asking questions around in your department. Who to follow? This is an interesting question. So when you wanted to know about social media, you wanted to know who should I follow? Now, that was a great question because there's two areas here. Who do I follow to learn from? Could be one of those questions. Or who do I follow to get great content ideas from? Could be another opportunity. And my suggestion on that one, I'm going to give you a little tip on this now, is that you follow the people that your ideal audience is following, because that's who they resonate with. And you can start sharing some of that information. Okay, what language to use? Well, that's a really great question as well. As writers, and when we're faced with writing for a department or a government body, we kind of need to create a persona that can be overall for that government department or body that we're working for, organisation. So what you really want to look at is what are the tone and tenor of the conversation you want to put out. And you write that as detailed as possible. What you will write, what you won't write, so that if for any reason somebody comes on and replaces you in that role, they know exactly what that personality is that you've created for your business, for your organisation. Does it make sense? Yeah. Be really detailed about that. What you will do, what you won't do, what tone you take, so that whoever writes follows that avatar, that whole persona. Okay, what to avoid? Well, there's lots of things to avoid. First of all, I would say a flame war. Don't get into one of those. So one of the things that I say about social media in particular is don't get emotional and drive social media. It's kind of like drunk driving. You don't want to do that shit, okay? No offense. It's really bad stuff. I remember one day my husband, I'd gotten this email from a client who wanted to, after I'd spent an hour with them, wanted me to give them 2 references. And I'm thinking, why haven't they looked at my LinkedIn profile? I've got like 50 odd references there that they can check out. And they sent me this email, and I must have had a bad day that day. I'm not sure what was going on, but I was like blood boiling red, going, what? I've just given them massive value. What's happened? And my husband wisely said, turn off the computer, step away from the keyboard, and no one will get hurt. And I did. And the next day, the first email that I got was from the same guy saying, oh, I've just seen your LinkedIn profile. Please ignore my last email. And I'm going, oh, thank God. Social media works. Thank goodness. It just sometimes takes time, right? I always like that ad by the New Zealand model Rachel Hunter. Do you remember the ad that she used to do on Pantene? I often say this to my clients with social media. Social media is like that Pantene ad. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. You've got to stay true to the course, right? So, remember that when you're doing social media.